LaVoy. Lemoyne. Michael.
Here.
Murray.
Here.
Norris.
Here.
Oje.
Here.
Puglisi.
I'm here.
Dequeeze. Sponzo.
Here.
Sullivan. Here. Surowitz.
Here.
Wang.
Here.
All right, we'll now move into public comment. If anyone would like to be recognized for public comment, please denote. Signify. Oh, Evelyn. Right here at this podium.
All right, good evening. Maybe I shouldn't speak into the microphone. In the back, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not get the memo this evening that actually our presence here, the AAUP, the Yukon chapter, was canceled. So I didn't get the memo. So I ended up, obviously, I went through some changes to get here, right? But I'm going to introduce myself. I'm not sure what Chris Henderson had in mind. He is the chief organizer for the AAUP. That's Association for American University Professors, Yukon chapter. I am a professor, associate professor with tenure in the Department of Political Science here at the University of Connecticut. I function in probably 4 capacities for the union. Every department has a representative. I'm the representative for the Department of Political Science. The representative is a member of what we call the General Assembly of Reps. I am the elected speaker for that General Assembly of all faculty representatives. At the same time, I am on the negotiation team. I'm the only woman in the room in negotiations. He says, no, you're not. He would not know. I'm also on the campaign committee. So you're probably wondering why I'm here and what does this have to do with you, your academic future. I had a conversation with Sydney earlier today about a trend, a national trend, where 50% of faculty are non-tenure track. That's a trend that is also on the rise here at the University of Connecticut. What does it mean to be non-tenure track? It means you're getting more adjuncts, you're getting more contingent temporary faculty, which means instability. And ultimately, those of you that aspire to go graduate school, professional school, want faculty with tenure. At a research university, there's cachet, there's currency with having your letter of recommendation written by a tenured faculty member who gets tenure based on their publication record and has established both a national and international reputation based on their research. So I'll share with you one anecdote. My students typically want to go to law school. They're poli-sci majors, or they want to go to graduate school. Many graduate programs will accept only a few graduate students and offer full funding for consecutive years. So I've had departments, I've had admissions committees call me up and ask me, we see this student took a course with you. Why don't they have a letter recommendation for them? And they're at the table deciding who they will admit and who they will fund tuition remittance. So for this body, who I'm sure aspires to go to graduate school or some professional school like law school or medical school, your ability to stand out among all those applicants will oftentimes hinge on that letter of recommendation by that instructor that has written the textbook, who's designated the national expert on that topic. You don't want your letters written by your graduate student instructors. You don't want your letters written by non-tenure track adjunct faculty who teach what we call an overload, which means they don't have the luxury to focus on research. right? And it's the name of your advisor that gets your application recognized and moved to the top. Yes, UConn's national ranking as a top 20 university, but also the letter of rec and the name attached to it. I have never written a letter of recommendation for any student that did not get into the law school or professional program of their choice and not be funded. Now, I don't write a letter for just anybody, so don't look at me and think, oh, let me hurry up and get a letter from her, because I don't write a letter for anybody. But I can say this, all of my students have gotten into the graduate program of their choice with funding. And so that's where you come in. At other universities in the state of Connecticut, students like yourselves are involved in demonstrating the significance, the importance of hiring more tenure-track faculty and moving away from hiring adjuncts, assistant professors in residence, contingent faculty. So I think that's the main point Chris, our chief organizer, wanted to stress or underscore this evening. Since I got my kiddo with me, I'm not going to stay very long, and I don't even know how much time you set aside for me and how this works. Because I thought I was just going to be presents. I told my son they just need to see my face. He said to me, they know what you look like. So that's what I have to say. I don't know if I'm supposed to say take questions, but...
I will allow, let's say, 10 minutes of questions if you do have them. Anyone would like to be recognized for questions? If not, I think AAUP is also coming again, so we'll get to see their lovely faces. All right, thank you, Evelyn. All right, thank you. Would anyone else like to be recognized for public comment? Hey, and Jonathan the Husky, the mascot's back there. Yeah, he came. Come to hang out, see what we do here. Alright, we will move on. We'll now move to the approval of the minutes from January 20, 2015. 2016, or 2016 now, not 2015. Very hesitant. All right, they're up. Is there a motion to approve these minutes? Oh, Bird. Is there a second? Burr and Bird. Yeah. Are there questions on these minutes? Any debate? All those in favor of approving the minutes from January 20th, 2016, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, clearly passes. We'll now move into new business, and by unanimous consent, I would like to move the UConn, an act concerning this, there it is, an act concerning emergency funding for honors in STEM. By unanimous consent, can we, so, all right. Sponsoring senators. Senator. Senators. What's up? You can choose mine. This place is good.
Hey, hi guys, thank you. The representatives for this group just have to leave a little bit early, so we wanted to be considerate of their time and move this up first. So thank you for doing that by unanimous consent. I will get right to it. An act concerning legislative funding for honors in STEM. Whereas the undergraduate student government is charged with improving the quality of student initiatives through funding. Whereas honors in STEM is arranged for a variety of comprehensive and valuable events throughout the semester that will greatly serve the mission of their group. Whereas a medical leave of absence taken by their CEO necessitated the Honors in STEM program to utilize legislative funding as opposed to the regular budgeting process. Whereas Honors in STEM has requested that the Director of Research and Scientific Affairs of the Huntington's Disease Society of America, Dr. George Yerling, speak at UConn on March 10, 2016. Whereas the $300 request encompasses reservation fees for the Conover Auditorium and transportation for Dr. Yerling to UConn's campus. Whereas Honors in STEM has requested funds for transportation to the Jackson Genetics Laboratories, where participants will be able to tour the professional facilities with transportation fees and appropriate 75% budget cuts totaling very redundant, my apologies, $245. Whereas Honors in STEM has requested funds in order to procure a long-term relationship with the East Hartford Public Schools in partnership with the East Hartford Public Schools Science Curriculum Supervisor. Whereas this relationship will include programs promoting women in STEM, scientific literacy, and class instruction within the Harvard school system. Whereas, with appropriate 75% budget cuts for transportation and supply fees, the total amount granted for this initiative is $1,027.50. Whereas, Honors in STEM plans to host an educational fair for elementary and high school students in Hawley Armory with rental fees for the space totaling $200. Whereas, Honors in STEM plans to attend Platform Cooperativism, the Internet Ownership and Democracy Conference on February 20th in New York. Whereas appropriate budget cuts result in $712 being granted for this initiative. Therefore be it resolved that the undergraduate student government support Honors in STEM in their outreach and education endeavors. Therefore be it further resolved that the undergraduate student government grants $2,687.15 to the Honors in STEM program for the various events, programs, and initiatives they have planned for the spring semester.
I will give the motion to Ali. Is there a second? Amoy. Move into questions. Does anyone have any questions regarding this piece of legislation? Yes, Lemoyne. I will yield to Chairperson Porcella. Never mind.
I'm sorry, what?
Never mind.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move into debate. Is there any debate? Yes, Chairperson Porcella.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so Honors in STEM, so they were a brand new group, and they couldn't go through the normal process yet because they hadn't been around long enough. So my suggestion to them was to go through the legislative funding process in the spring and really just show the Senate, that they have a good plan for what they want to do, and I think they've done that. So this was approved by funding board, and it doesn't break any funding policy necessarily or anything. So that's it.
Would anyone else like to be recognized for debate? All right. Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor of approving an act concerning legislative funding for Honors in STEM, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? And clearly passes. All right, we'll now continue with the normal agenda with an act concerning emergency funding for the UConn Society of Women Engineers. Launching senators.
All right. An act concerning emergency funding for the UConn Society of Women Engineers. Whereas the undergraduate student government is charged with improving the quality of student initiatives through funding, whereas the UConn Society of Women Engineers is seeking legislative funding to attend their regional conference on February 27 to 28. Whereas as a section of the Society of Women Engineers, Region F, the UConn Society of Women Engineers is required to attend this conference. Whereas attending this conference is crucial for the organization to present a bid to host the regional conference at UConn for 2017. Whereas the UConn Society of Women Engineers is requesting $269.84 for 2 hotel rooms for one night at $134.92 per room per night. Whereas the Yukon Society of Women Engineers is requesting $287.28 for 2 cars to travel 266 miles. Whereas the Yukon Society of Women Engineers is requesting $240 for the conference registration costs of 8 students at $30 per student. Whereas this event is a Category D request and is thus subject to no more than 75% funding of the total request. Therefore, be it resolved that the undergraduate student government allocates $597.84 to the Yukon Society of Women Engineers to pay for expenses associated with attending their regional conference.
Is there a motion? Motion. Motion by Donato. Is there a second? Second by Ali. Are there any questions? Yes, Senator Lemoyne.
I believe it did. I talked to Chairperson Purcell, and yeah.
Chairperson Byrd.
What is the reason it's coming to Senate through emergency funding?
The CFO of the organization went on an unexpected medical leave right before the funding deadline, so they could not submit this through the funding system.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move into a debate. Would anyone like to debate this piece of legislation? Alright, seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor of approving an act concerning emergency funding for the Yukon Society of Women Engineers, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? And clearly passes. Continue with the agenda to an act concerning emergency funding for the Yukon Boxing Club. Is there a sponsoring senator? I believe that the senator would like his not to be recognized, so we will continue. You don't want to do boxing club, right? Oh, you're boxing club. You're ballroom. Okay, 2 B's.
Are we abstaining ballroom?
Yeah, I got to use it.
Whereas the undergraduate student government is charged with improving the quality of student initiatives through funding, whereas the UConn boxing team requires coaching and equipment in order to afford quality experiences and education to its members, whereas the UConn boxing team is a competitive team and must participate in tournaments in order to represent the University of Connecticut, whereas the UConn boxing team, through extraordinary measures in an effort to secure funding for the spring 2016 semester, including participating in intercontinental communication with the team's former CFO and writing pre-drafted funding documents, whereas despite these measures, an error by a member of the UConn boxing team's executive board resulted in an incomplete budget request that was submitted.
Whereas requests for culture services are capped at $4,000 for a Category B, meaning that they are not subject to disbursement cuts. Whereas requests for equipment are Category B and thus not subject to disbursement cuts. Whereas requests for competition registration fees and associated costs are Category D and subject to 75% disbursement cut. Whereas UConn Boxing Club requests $200 for registration fees. Whereas requests for mileage reimbursement are funded for maximum 500 miles at 50 cents per mile.
Whereas the aforementioned initiative bears clear merit to the student body, therefore be it resolved that the undergraduate student government allocates $4,000 to the UConn boxing team for coaching services. Therefore be it further resolved that the undergraduate student government allocates $150 to the UConn boxing club for registration fees. Therefore be it further resolved that the undergraduate student government allocates $1,931.85 to the UConn boxing club for mileage reimbursement. Therefore, be it further resolved that the undergraduate student government allocates $295.89 to the UConn boxing club for equipment. Therefore, be it finally resolved that the undergraduate student government allocates $654.41 to the UConn boxing club for lodging.
We'll give a lead, motion. Would anyone like to second it? Yes, Goebel. Are there any questions? Yes, Chairperson Byrd.
Can we have a breakdown of the lodging costs? Because my understanding that they're staying at 2 different hotels, 2 different nights with two different coaches?
Yeah, actually, Chairperson Priscilla, do you have any details on that?
Yeah, I mean, I have it.
Can you tell me what it is and make sure it's right?
Can you scroll down for a sec? The correct total was 654.41. I can't see it.
That's what it says.
Scroll down. Scroll. Scroll.
So that's the number I have. I can double check my work. So the first night, I'm getting 4 rooms for 2 nights at $82.58. So 82.58 times 8. Second time is 105.95 times 2. I don't know if I can do math, but
And it's,
okay, and then we're multiplying that all by 75%. It should be 654.41.
Sponzo.
Sorry, I'm here. I have a question. Can I use that over here? Does the group have any other means of raising this money? If we deny them these funds, like, will they just not have a coach for this semester?
As far as I'm aware, their membership fees are already quite high. They don't want to raise their membership fees anymore. And I'll defer to the representatives of the group for comment on that.
Hi, my name's Shayna. I was the president last year, went abroad and to South Africa this past fall. I'm Rachel, I'm the president.
I'm Eric. I'm the treasurer.
So basically we charge our members $65 yearly fee to register on the USA Boxing. This is a necessary fee so we can be assured for safety measures so that they can compete during our tournaments on the weekends. We would like to reimburse them, but our funds in our group right now are dwindling since we've had to pay other equipment fees and costs. So we wouldn't like to have our members pay any higher fee than $65 because we feel that is kind of a high rate to come in and train with us. Our past semester we charged $20, so it's kind of a higher cost for them to transition because we weren't a competitive team before this year. So we're also trying to deal with that transition, starting to train and compete on the weekends instead of just training and not competing on the
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Priscilla.
Could I just ask Shayna to just go up and clarify again why this is going through legislative funding?
Yes, definitely. So I started part of the UConn boxing team my freshman year, and I was an executive board since then. I'm a senior now, so I did most of the CFO responsibilities and budgeting and funding since then. Before I went abroad, I did walk Eric through everything that we needed to do. Although it was a huge transition for us because, like I said, now we're a competitive team, so we weren't really sure what we needed as a competitive team. Traveling expenses, registration fees, and mileage reimbursement are all new for us. So Eric tried his best. He did submit a budget request, but he did not submit a budget request for the correct things that we will need to compete as an actual competitive team. So here we are. We're trying to fix it now, and we also have a new coach, so he's learning as we learn. So hopefully, and I'm sure that we won't have to go through this again because we're all learning right now, but we're developing.
Thank you. Sullivan. Bird. Are there any other questions? All right. You, Senator, sit down. We'll now move into debate. Would anyone like to be recognized for debate? Sponzo.
We're up to that and half small, and they still call it Australians.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't decided how I'm voting on this. But some things to consider, especially given our conversation in caucus this last week. The dilemma here obviously is that we either give this group 100% of the money that they're asking for, and they have the coach that they need to be a competitive team, which is a great accomplishment on the part of this group that they're now competitive. or we give them no money and they have no coach. While I regret that the process was not followed in the way that it should have been, I do feel that USG is in a place right now where we are in the process of evolving our policy so that situations like this won't come to us anymore. That being said, I think that I'm going to vote yes, that they should have the money, only because we've had this conversation. In the future, when we have more people trained on teams and in groups within the funding system, these situations won't happen anymore. So I think that's something important to consider. The question is, in the meantime, until we're able to implement those policies, how are we going to treat the situation? I don't think this group should suffer because the policies may have not been all-encompassing enough to ensure that they had enough people trained in their groups to ensure their funding. So that being said, I would recommend that everyone vote yes to fund this team.
Thank you, Senator Esponza, for the train of thought. Your decision up there. Senator Lemoy.
He just laughed a little bit.
So I'm definitely voting yes, and I'm urging all of you to vote yes. And the reason why, I know a lot of you are looking shocked, should I speak against it, is because they already looked into alternative routes of funding themselves. $65 for a membership is extremely high for a college student. I cannot look at them raising it any further, and that would definitely be unfair to them. And like as far as Boston Club goes, I'm going to assume there's like definitely some self-defense training that like a lot of people at the university do need, and BC Alternative taking a class for it. So with that in mind, as far as like the students that we're trying to serve here, it's better that we give the money now and not worry about the logistics of how we're going to do funding next year with these legislative processes. And the other thing too is like as far as like a learning process, I've been through similar situations where like there's really no training to tell you how to move from one setting to another. So to fault them for the fact that there's absolutely no way to know besides really further research or past experience, I'm not going to fault them for that. So I urge you all to vote yes in favor.
Thank you, Senator Lemoy. Would anyone else like to be recognized for debate? All right. Yes, Senator Kignata.
So, you know, I'm obviously in favor of all the funding that we do, but I don't actually think that this piece of legislative funding is any different than the ones we've approved in the past that plenty of senators in this group have adamantly debated against, so I wonder what the reason is for that. We don't need to sort through whether these are emergencies or not. The word emergency doesn't even appear anywhere in our funding board policies. We're free to...
You're out of order. You're not talking about the actual legislation, you're talking about the title. You need to talk about the funding.
Okay, I was talking about the funding, but...
I know, but we already discussed that. If it's about the funding or whether or not we should fund them, yes or no.
Okay, yeah, we should fund the group. Thanks, Alan.
All right. Anyone else like to be recognized for debate? All right, seeing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor of approving and considering emergency funding for the UConn Vaccine Club, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? 2 abstentions, yes. And clearly passes. I will now move into an act concerning emergency funding for UConn Ballroom. Do I have a sponsoring senator? No, we're not. All right. So we will continue to an act concerning the spring 2016 budget.
I just got to explain every line item precisely, you know what I mean? We might be here till 11. Yeah. I have the stage though. All right. Before we present it. Okay. So, just so you guys get what's happening, this is our budget. Yeah. So, in regards to student fees, that's just the second semester as well. Top one. Student fee, second semester. Okay, the legislation, I gotta read that. Alright, and concerning the spring 2016 budget of the undergraduate student government, whereas USG is charged with passing a budget each semester under its constitution, whereas, the undergraduate student government has the ability to update or amend the budget at a later date, therefore be it resolved, the undergraduate student government adopts the updated proposed budget as presented by Comptroller Rana. So, we had passed one right before we left at the end of the fall semester so that we could operate over winter break. And this is now us updating it to be able to operate for the rest of this semester. So, in regards to our revenue itself, that 762 number is how much we had as of this Monday when the numbers were ran. 742,500 is a basic estimate of how much we would expect to get from students. And you see that 105 subtracted from there because we've already gotten December payments as a revenue. Yeah, so in our general ledger, the journal entry for December is 105,000. So we already got revenue for spring semester because, as you know, people can start using their installment plans and pay for tuition from December itself. So that's why that number is there, and that number would have been counted twice already if we didn't take that out. It would have been counted twice in the rollover. So that's where we get our number of about 1.4 as our revenue for the semester. So then for each of these committees, you have the numbers that are listed, as well as a couple of different things: Judiciary, Senate, Reserves, Community Outreach, Hall Associations, which is area councils. They changed their names in 2014, Exec, and USG General. So all of those have further breakdowns in the tab over, and those expenses come out to about 1.38 million. And our net income is about 20,000. So we have 20,000 left over, plus the 90,000 from reserve. So you're technically looking at the end of the year, if all money was used efficiently, we would have 100K left. So do we need to go through each of the breakdowns, or just anyone have questions?
Would anyone like me to go through the breakdown?
Go back to the overall.
Go back to the overall, please.
You have it as a deficit.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so I'm gonna...
George did expense minus one.
Alright, well, I will now bring it onto the floor. Is there a motion for this bird? Is there a second? A boy. Alright, are there any questions for Comptroller Ron? Yes, Chairperson Bird. For budget line item for catering cap at 500?
I cut them to 500, yeah. I lowered them for everyone. Yeah. Not just you, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions about catering? No, are there any other questions? Alright, seeing none, we'll move into the debate. Would anyone like to debate? Yes, Chairperson Bird. Was there another factor that was raised?
I'd like to motion to amend
the budget, specifically external affairs, like around.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
Oh, we could have done before, but yeah. Yes.
it was already sent out.
Yeah, we could do it before we motion it.
We'll do it.
Well, I left some space on the top and bottom in case we forgot.
I need to add. Okay, I need $1,000 for catering specifically for our trip to Hartford. I'm gonna just add that under. Okay.
Yeah, catering for Hartford.
What? Yeah.
Testimony, right? When you're testifying at the Capitol? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. $1,000.
That needs to be changed.
All right, is there a second for Chairperson Byrd's motion? Yes, Surowitz. Yes, you know, everybody is. Okay. Is there any questions about this motion? Any debate?
Yes.
Yes, Comptroller Rana.
This is just one thing in regard, oh, yeah. So, to let you guys know, I would have said this in my report, but it's easier since the numbers are up here. Winter Committee itself, they approved about $200,000 in funds for, right? Yeah?
This is about finance.
Oh, is it my fault? Yeah, no.
I thought it was doing it.
No, he's right.
Okay. Is there any other debate? I seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving Chairperson Byrd's amendment to read the $1,000 for the Hartford catering for the testimony, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, clearly passes. We'll now move back to original debate about the act overall. Would anyone like to be recognized for debate?
Yeah.
Okay, Comptroller Rana.
No.
Never mind, not Comptroller Rana. Anyone? Alright, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving an act concerning the spring 2016 budget, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? And clearly passes. Alright, we'll now move into reports. Report of the President. President Concord.
Alright, which mic is on?
It's the little one.
Hello. Okay, so I think you guys all got an email today.
Can you hear me?
You guys all got an email today from President Herbst about the budget. Chairperson Byrd and I had a meeting today about Capital Day, the state of UConn's budget, and I'll let him kind of go over that a little bit more because External Affairs will be heading that. It's obviously a little concerning, so we hope that you guys will all come out and support External over the next couple weeks and months as we go and kind of testify on behalf of UConn students. Next up, rec center workshops. I think I already mentioned finish up. Sandra will be coming to either Senator Caucus to kind of share where they're at now and steps going forward. I had a meeting with the Chief of Police, Chief O'Connor. Usually they're pretty short in the fall unless something's going on. This semester we had a more to talk about with spring weekend. We started talking about what the restrictions will look like. They haven't decided yet or anything, but that's a concern of mine. We also talked a lot about the new Office of Emergency Management website. Go and check it out. It looks pretty cool. It was designed by the same company who made the new Title IX website. So if you've seen that website, you have an idea of what this one kind of looks like. It's very similar, the same shading on all the pictures. But it is clearer, and when you go in, there's like 4 boxes, so you know exactly fire department, Office of Emergency, police department, and there's an online reporting tool. They're also looking at an app, which may come to a caucus to kind of get some student feedback of what you would want to see in a phone app that could connect to my UConn. Not only would it replace kind of blue lights in a way, that blue lights would still exist, but this would be in addition to that tool. But it would also be something where if you saw something, you see something, say something, you could take a picture similar to a work order and send it in. These are kind of tools they're looking at, so they want student feedback. And I said, we can provide that. Winter weather, you guys remember this was a legislation we passed last year. I'm contacting offices to see the best way we can get student input in. No answer on that yet. I'm still kind of doing my research on what the process exactly is, how the committee comes to its decision and where we can get students in on that. So I'll keep you guys updated, especially residential senators. That's going to be coming up soon as it gets colder. Maybe if it gets colder. Sorry, I'm trying to think of whether. I think that's basically the gist of my meetings. Yeah. You want me to- I'll send that out in an email. Co-op bid and, sorry, there's two more things that actually reminded me. The co-op, obviously the RFP is out, the petition is out. We met with some of the leaders today and talked about what some of their issues are going forward and what efforts they're making and how they're preparing for the RFP. And that went really well. So we wish luck to the students who are trying to represent their board, their elected officials for the co-op, just as we are for USG. And I'll be sitting on the search committee for the new director of health services. So that is the umbrella of mental health and like the infirmary. Sorry, I apologize. That's all I have, though. I think for this report.
Are there any questions for President Convoy? All right, President Convoy. We'll now move into the report of the Vice President. Vice President.
First off, thank you to everybody who applied for the U21 committee. We were actually able to take everyone who applied for that. So if you applied to be involved with U21, you didn't get an email from Chief of Staff Alechikhan, let me know. But we will be having our first meeting tomorrow at 4:30 in the SOC conference room. So if you're on that committee, please do your best to make it. We're going to be starting some very important parts of our preparations as a group for U21, but the planning for U21 has been going great, so we really appreciate the participation of everyone who applied. The next thing is you should have gotten an email also from Chief of Staff Alechikhan about if you are graduating this year. It's very important that if you're graduating, you respond to that email. This is both for commendations at the end of the year and also for graduation sashes, so you won't want to miss out on those things. Make sure you reply to that email. For everyone who's a Leaders Guiding Leaders mentor, you should have gotten an email from me with our question, which is due next Friday at 5 p.m. Please make sure that you're getting that in on time. And then the last thing, which I sound like a broken record, you're probably tired of hearing from me about this, but if you want to do Husky-thon, please sign up. We're getting down to the last days to do it. There's a few of us here who are on the team. We need more members. It's for a great cause. Every time I come here, I get like the entire room that raises their hand and says they want to do it. And then I think it's hard to remember to sign up. So if you've been on your computer through the meeting anyways and want to do Husky-thon, sign up on your computer right now. But please don't forget, it's for a really good cause, and I'll probably be posting in the Facebook group about it again, so the link will be there as well. That's it for me.
Are there any questions for Vice President Kugler? All right, thank you. All right, yeah, so we had Jonathan, the Husky mascot, show up. I don't know if you saw him, but he was here. Came by for a little photo op. The university wanted him to show up. So a few things. As you saw, we had a lot of people come to the back for public comment today. So we're going to try to update the system. George is thinking about maybe reutilizing one of our older laptops to set up at the back of the room so we can sign in. Because to appropriately reflect what we're doing in this room, our minutes need to display everyone who was present at the meeting under the public audience. So we're going to try to become more official with who shows up and who's sitting in the back. Second, I will be resending the committee and office hours forms because we kind of sorted out the committees ourselves during exec, but I do need your office hours because we will be utilizing you guys for elections. Also, before I cut off Senator Ignato during debate in regards to the boxing club, that is because he sent me an email about the emergency funding, the term emergency funding, which I completely agree with him. We will no longer be using the emergency, well, I will not be using the term emergency funding anymore because it does not accurately reflect what these students are coming here for. Our funding policies, none of our documents actually utilize the term emergency funding. I did a quick control
fine on all our documents. The only time emergency is actually used is for emergency meetings. So I guess it's just because I've just been used to it and I've always written emergency up there, but it doesn't accurately reflect what it is. The term in the funding policies, section 5.4, is legislative funding. So I'll now be naming things and not concerning legislative funding for, etc. I just think it more accurately represents what the funding board is doing and what we are doing when we are faced with students that want to come here and use the legislative process in order to secure funding. And that's about it for me. I apologize to Senator Kavanaugh for being so short with him. It's just, I didn't feel like we needed to talk to it, and also I didn't think that it actually was about the actual funding that we were going through. So I'd like to apologize to him, but I'd just like to clarify what it was. This is awkward.
Were there any questions for the speaker? Senator Kavanaugh.
Is it actually out of order to talk about funding policy during a piece of legislative funding?
If it has to deal with the detail, like the title of it, and not actually why we're funding them, I believe so. It's just outside of the scope of what we're going over. We're talking about whether or not we're going to fund them, not the title of the document. You could argue that yes, the document, you could potentially amend the title of the document whenever you wanted to, but it's just I didn't find it pertinent for the members to sit here and understand why the nuances of emergency compared to just legislative funding.
Senator Byrd.
I just want to say, I believe it's at the speaker's discretion, and it's the right, right? So, you can't just like say, what?
Yeah,
We're questions.
This is out of order. This is the questions period.
That was
trying to defend you.
Are there any further questions for the speaker?
No, he was. What Senator Byrd is trying to say is that I have the ability to say someone is out of order, and you guys can always overrule me with a 2/3 majority if you feel that you want to hear what anyone wants to say or do, actually, in the Senate chamber.
Are there any further questions for the speaker? Seeing none, we move into the report on the for control.
Yes, no.
I've never thought of that.
Hello. So, just a couple of things. So damn, no one seems to be paying attention now. So, yeah. So, the inventory email that's going to be sent out to COs and CFOs is going to be sent tomorrow because the form is also ready now. So, student groups will be able to go on, submit their inventory, and then we'll be able to review whether or not it matches with what they have actually been funded. So, submissions can begin. The SFAC meetings are going to, the SFAC hearings are going to be this Tuesday, so a week from yesterday, in room 304C, and I believe they start at 1 p.m. USG is going to be going at 2 p.m. So those are important to know where your money is going. Last thing is that CASGA applicants have been selected, they've been notified, and we will be sending 8 delegates. Steph Bogle, I might mess up. Did I say it properly? Yes, I did. Okay. Joy Scoba, no, is that correct? Scopo? Scopo. All right. Joy Scopo. Shomo is going. Donnie Ivanov, who is a committee member. Sydney Dinklu, our chief of staff. Austin Lander, senator. Rachel Conboy, president, and Dan Bird. So look out for more information. Each of your committees will probably review things that they may want to or not want to bring to CASA, and that can be talked about within, now you know the delegates, now you can speak to them in regards to what you would want them to achieve there if there is anything. And then lastly, in regards to the budget for, no, we're fine, that's all, yeah, I'm good.
Thank you, Comptroller Rana. Any questions?
No questions.
To the report of the Judiciary Chief Justice. You said you wanted a report.
Oh, my little matzo balls. I
was not planning on having a report tonight, so I will try to keep things brief and vague. Don't forget, elections are coming up. We need those declaration of interest forms in. Sorry, blinking at time over here, but the time is incorrect. Get those declaration of interest forms in. Make sure that you're telling other people on campus that they can run for a seat if there are any openings. Let's see. Oh, another point of contention. A lot of people have been coming to me, whether they're in Senate or out of Senate, and they've been asking me questions about constitutionality of things, elections procedure, things like that. If you find that you're going to someone for a question, and they refer you to someone else, and they refer you to someone else, and they refer you to someone else, please come to judiciary so we can give you an answer right away, and let others know the same thing as possible. All right, well, that's it.
Any questions for Chief Justice Ripp? All right, thank you. We'll now move into the report of academic affairs. Chairperson Gopal. Who's here?
Our nomination report this week, we've only met once this semester so far. Yeah, once. We're about to meet again tomorrow, but tomorrow we'll be setting new goals and refreshing ourselves on what we're going to get done this semester. The Open Education Task Force is going well, but I'm going to let Chairperson Bird fill you guys in on that in more detail. I met with Martha Bedard regarding the library situation and the 5-year plan that the library is going to be rolling out soon as far as renovations go. And we're hopefully going to try and make that more accessible to the general student population in the next couple of years. Yeah, that's it. Come back affairs if you got time on Thursdays. All right.
Are there any questions for Chairperson Gopal? All right, thank you. We will now move into the report of external affairs. Chairperson Bird.
Okay, I have kind of a lot to report. So, on Wednesday, you got your calendars. On Wednesday, February 10th, at 2:30, External Affairs, along with hopefully about 100 other students, including many of you hopefully, will be leaving stores to go to Hartford to testify before the Appropriations Committee, Higher Education Subcommittee, about UConn's budget. That testimony will take place from 4 to 6:30, and here's how it's going to work. So unlike last year where we did a lottery system where anyone who wanted to speak could take a number and they just go in that order, we're having panels this year. UConn was granted 3 panels by the Appropriations Committee, each having 5 members, each member getting 3 minutes. So UConn has a total of 15 members speaking for a total of 45 minutes. USG will hopefully have 1 full panel and represent a wide swath of student interests, including STEM, non-STEM, honors, in-state, out-of-state, all sorts of stuff. We ask everyone else who wants to come, who isn't testifying, to wear UConn pride gear with big huskies and UConn, and we'll have stickers that say we love UConn with hearts on it. So we want to fill that room up with as many people so that when students and faculty and department heads and administration testify, we show that UConn really cares about, the state and that we show a lot of support. For those of you who are in my committee, I'm reminding you that testimony is due to me by 12 o'clock tomorrow. And I have a meeting with Rachel tomorrow to select testimony for whoever's going to be speaking on the panel. And if you're not selected, your testimony will be submitted through written testimony, so the committee will read it anyway. I think this is going to be a great experience. It was a lot of fun last year, a lot of energy in the room, and we need as many of you to show up as possible. So I'll send out an email with a Google Doc, with a Google form for everyone to sign up to go on the bus. We're going to have 110 seats. It's first come, first serve. So make sure you get your name on the list. We leave at 2:30. We'll be back around 7 or 7:30. And it is possible, I think, if you're in this class, that we can get you an excuse note. In case you have like a quiz or something. And I just want to give you some background about the numbers. So UConn right now, for fiscal year 17, is running about a $40 million deficit. Scott Jordan came and presented about this to us. About $12 million is being raised through increases in tuition. That leaves us with $28 million in deficit, and the state is going to cut even more. And as President Herb said in her email, possibly over $30 million. So we could be looking at between $50 and $60 million deficit for the university for fiscal year 17, which is not good. So we really need to all show up in Hartford and show them that we really care. The second thing I want to talk about is open source textbooks, which Chairperson Gopal touched on a little bit. Greg Haddad, who's our state representative, wrote legislation last session to create a task force to look into how Connecticut can use open source textbooks in their universities. That committee was supposed to start in October, it kind of got delayed, and our first meeting is on Friday. I was nominated to represent UConn, Bart Bedard was nominated to represent UConn, I think maybe one other person, but there's people from the CSU system, from some community schools. So I'll report next Senate about what we talked about and give you some updates over the course of the semester about how the state is planning on implementing open source textbooks at the university. Any questions?
Are there any questions for Chairperson Bird? Yes, Comptroller Rana.
Are individuals allowed to come to the testimony with their own means of transportation?
Yes, but you can, if you have your own means to get there, you have to take the same means to get back. Just get back there. You couldn't like get on the bus. Like if someone was dropping you off, you couldn't get on the bus back.
Yes. Deputy Secretary.
Is the testimony due by 12 p.m.?
This is due at 12 noon tomorrow.
Are there any questions?
There's a little bit of wiggle room.
Oh, it was a soft.
It was like a hard noon, like soft to 3 o'clock. Like if you get it in at like 2 o'clock, I'm gonna be like,
Speeder works the other way. Soft noon, hard.
Yeah. Soft noon, hard. Yeah, sorry. Soft noon, hard like 2 o'clock.
Yes, Senator Sponzo.
Yes, a week from today.
And following up with, are there any other questions? Yes, Deputy Speaker Wang.
So we will be leaving at 2:30. So we'll be gathering at 2:30 and hopefully leaving by 2:45, but people are going to start getting on the buses at 2:30.
So hard 2:45, soft 2.
No. Yes. 2:30. Be there at 2:30. But also sign up. I'll send the Google form. You have to sign up. You cannot get on the bus.
Are there any other questions for Chairperson Bird? All right, thank you. Also, in addition to that, since there is some conflict with caucus, I will be allowing.
You're about to say.
I am canceling caucus for next week. I'm going to pull Kevin Alvarez and say, because I can and because I'm speaker. I encourage you all to please go to Hartford. I will be going, and in return for this, you will get one extra excused absence that you can use at any Senate caucus or committee meeting. Wow. Refundable at any time. All right. We'll now move into the report of Funding Board, Chairperson Priscilla.
I have no report because it was a very typical week, but if you have questions, I'll take them.
Classic. Thank you. Any questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move into the report of student development. Chairperson Valverde. If you don't have a report, yeah, but you have to say what kids I can say for me.
Alrighty, so the biggest thing that I have to announce is that our speaker is officially booked and the location is booked too, so everybody take your calendars out, please. Oh, whatever, okay. It's Tuesday, February 16th at 7 p.m. in Morrill Hall 102. We're having Dr. Michael Kimmel come and speak about gender and masculinity, and it's we're co-sponsoring it with the
Women's Center and the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. So we're hoping for a really big turnout from a lot of people in the Greek community, as well as a lot of the members of the Women's Center, as well as like people who are involved in the Men's Project. And then besides that, Selling on Path, we had a really great week with talking to WHUS, and also Steph and I were just interviewed for Daily Campus, so check that out tomorrow. And then other than that, I had a meeting with the fire department, police department, parking services, traffic services, facilities, event services for Founders Day. So a lot of work is going into that, and any updates that we have, I'll let all of you know. And that's it.
Are there any questions for Chairperson Bauer today? Alberta. Yes.
You said it right.
Chief Justice Reed.
What time was that? 7 o'clock.
Are there any other questions? All right, thank you. We'll now move into the report of Student Services Chairperson Conrad.
Hi friends. So this week we were supposed to talk about student services, just really Student Appreciation Day and starting our planning for that. It's going to be about double the size that it was last year, so we had a lot of planning to do. Unfortunately, my vice chair Sarah was really sick and couldn't make the meeting, and she was going to do all the prep work because she's our point person. So we decided to cancel the meeting and not waste anyone's time. So we can just have double the productivity this coming week. So if you want to get involved in that, please stop by. We're Tuesday at 4 p.m. in the SOC. Also, this semester, we're working with health services on their emergency hours and implementation of safe nurse information for patients, as well as insurance plans, different issues evolving around that. And we are also going to be working with dining services. Our town hall is going to be Wednesday. Oh, you are? Okay. Listen to Steve's announcement later for our town hall. And our maintenance initiative is up. So if you bring in 3 pictures, well, selfies with yourself with different water bottle filling stations on campus, you can get one of our really cool water bottles we ordered over winter break. And that should be on social media, Daily Digest, and all that fun stuff. So, yeah.
Any questions for Chairperson Conrad? Chairperson Porcello.
When you say double the size of last year's, what do you mean? It's like last year's was pretty big. I'm just
So we are doing it during spring weekend this semester because it's the best time to do it. Because Men's Services had a hard time processing our priority reservation last year for the space, so we can really only get it during spring weekend. And that's when it's warmest for all of you guys that are going to be helping work the event, as well as for the students who have to stand outside and wait in line for an hour or so, depending on the time. So because of that, there's going to be a higher demand because it's part of the spring weekend wristband deal. So we're going to have to supply more products to students. So we have to strategically budget for that. And I'm also hoping to try to get funding from spring weekend. Don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see if I have any other wiggle room in my budget instead to try to get more funding. So we're going to be working on that. Right now, I just have the $25,000 that you guys all.
Are there other questions? All right, thank you, Chairperson Conrad. We have no discussion topics for discussion. We'll now move into announcements. Would anyone like to be recognized for announcements? Yes, Senator. If anyone else would like to be recognized, please keep your hands raised. Oh, no.
So I'm still not totally sure why I was interrupted before by Speaker Green, but I guess I kind of accept that apology. I think he kind of jumped the gun and assumed what I was going to say. But before I go into that, though, I do kind of feel compelled to say that I don't think it's a good idea to give people an excused absence after canceling the next caucus. We have a lot of stuff to get done, so I'm not sure what purpose that serves. We still have yet to discuss the tuition increase, the AAUP. There's a lot of work to do. But anyway, what I was going to say before, and will say now, is that I think the boxing club legislation has all the criteria of what a lot of senators have been arguing against since the beginning of the year. So I find it shocking that we blew through all of those pieces of legislative funding with no opposition, especially considering our history this year of, frankly, parading Tier 2 CFOs to their faces in the middle of Senate meetings, calling them in their groups requests representative of failures, and having some 5 to 10 senators voting in favor of having those groups essentially not exist for that semester for those reasons. So Boxing Club had a transitioning CFO. And all of a sudden that's okay, which is fine, I agree with that. But I hope going forward that we're going to choose to be fair and this lenient with all of the groups going through that transition for the remainder of the academic year. That kind of legislative funding is necessary for groups to exist. And I'm in favor of the boxing club legislation, but our approval shouldn't just apply to them, it should apply to all the groups when they need that kind of funding.
Thank you, Senator Pignado. Senator Fatima. Through here. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Rich, do you want one?
Yes, please. Hello, everyone. The African American Cultural Center is having our opening event for Black History Month. It's going to be hosted here. Our keynote speakers are Leslie McSpadden and Benjamin Crump, who are the mother of Michael Brown and the lead attorney of the Trayvon Martin's family. So tickets can be, I guess, they're given out at the info desk downstairs. They are running out, so hope to see everyone there.
Thank you, Senator Duvier. Senator Ali. What's his name? Good name.
In other Black History Month news, next week is the Mr. and Miss ACC pageant. I don't know if you guys remember, I was Miss ACC last year, which I'm hoping now, so it's lit. You guys should definitely come out and see everyone perform. It's really interesting event, and it's going to be good for the entire community. So.
Thank you, Senator Ali. Senator Carr. Senator Langer, do you have anything to say?
Okay, so as some of you may know, Putnam Dining Hall will be closing in March. So, but if anyone lives in Hilltop Falls or Garibus, I'll be hosting a town hall with student services on Tuesday, February 9th. So next Tuesday at 7 p.m. in the Garibus big lounge, and we'll have wings and fries and stuff. So if you guys if any of you live there and want to give your student input about what you want to see happen, we will try to help that. And then we're going to be meeting with Dennis Pearson, her dining services, after just listening to student inputs. February 9th at 7 p.m. in the Garrigus, the big first floor lounge.
All right, thank you, Senator Carr. Chief Justice Rick.
How's everybody doing again? I did think of something to talk about. Well, first off, I'd like to say great job tonight, Speaker Ng, keeping things very short. I think you did a great job with that. I'd also like to thank whoever got Jonathan the Husky here tonight. That was a nice little surprise for all of us. Applause for that? No? All right. Love the enthusiasm. Also, I wanted to tell you guys, because, we don't get to talk really all that much, and this isn't necessarily a judiciary thing, but I am serving on the Student Trustee Election Committee. Nobody knew that. I mentioned it to any of you. So, if you have any questions, if you'd like to give some input on that, feel free to come to me and say, hey, whatever. Be more than happy to hear it. That's it.
Thank you, Chief Justice Rick. Now moving into, not moving into, Director Johnny.
Can I yield to President of Guard Dogs Tim?
Yes, President of Guard Dogs Tim Lin.
We'll be quick. So I wasn't aware that caucus is going to be canceled next week, so I guess I'll have to make this announcement now. February 16th is the Guard Dogs open house for all those people that we recruited from the involvement fair. I'm inviting everyone in this group to come. If you'd like to help out or just learn more about Guard Dogs, please attend our little meeting. There will be food, and you'll meet Guard Dogs exec and what we have in store for the rest of the semester.
Thank you, President Tim Lim.
Oh, 5. Sorry, SOC. Tuesday, the 16th.
All right. Chairperson Bird.
just wanted to apologize in advance. It probably isn't appropriate for announcements, but I just have to address something that was said earlier. Kind of disappointed in Senator Cagnato's comments earlier. I don't think that any member of this body should be berated for voting how they want. And as many members of this body have said, we should be taking a look at legislation on a case-by-case basis. And if that's what senators did tonight, like myself, then we have the right to do that. So don't be intimidated to vote any way you want. If you want to vote yes, vote yes. If you want to vote no, the next week something that you see as similar or something that's different but someone else sees as similar, do what you want. Thanks.
Chairperson Valverde.
Alright, I'm so sorry, I forgot to bring this up. So I met with the cultural centers today and I just had a few announcements, but one was already said. So ASAC is having Asian Night on February 20th. If you buy tickets now, it's $10, but if you buy them at the door, they're $15. So just, anybody who's not doing Husky-thon that night should definitely go and support ASAP. And then also on top of that, PAC is having their meetings this semester, Fridays at 1:30 to 2:45. So if you aren't busy during that time, it'd be really awesome to have some USG representation there. I know that Angela would really appreciate it, so if you're interested, just let me know so I can tell Angela. Thank you.
Senator Villar.
Hi everyone. I'm making an announcement for tomorrow. Connecticut for a Dream. You guys remember them? They came to talk one summit like a while ago. They are having informational / discussion about institutional scholarships. It's tomorrow, February 4th, Perlac Program Room from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. I hope you guys can make it.
Thank you, Senator Villar. Would anyone else like to be recognized for announcements? All right.